Nerd Academy podcast is released weekly at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, available on our website at www.thenerdacademypodcast.com and wherever you listen to podcasts. You can find the Nerd Academy podcast on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. You can also help support the show by going to patreon.com/The Nerd Academy podcast, where every donation allows us to bring you more exciting content every week.
Good morning, class, and welcome back to the Nerd Academy podcast, your source for nerddom news and commentary for the last 5 years. I am your host and superior web headmaster, Jared Bachman-Stubbs, and we got a nice little news roundup for you guys ahead of Super Jurassic month. I thought there was another part of that, and I stumbled over it. Little bit of housekeeping up top. We're probably going to have a review for Jurassic World Rebirth next week because I got caught up on all the Jurassic Park movies because I want to see it. I want to take part in Super Jurassic month. So stay tuned for that, maybe. But I am not alone. I am also joined by dear friend of the show, resident Green Lantern, and person who's going to be shilling Claire Obscura to me just like Mitch has been, Travis Grossman.
I knew Mitch would be talking to you about that game. I knew it. God. Game of a generation, man. I just finished it last night. I finished the main story.
I have so little reference for what this game's about.
Good.
Mitch just keeps going, your girlfriend in Baldur's Gate is in it. And that's been his main selling point.
Oh, okay. So you like Shadowheart.
Shadowheart was my first romance.
She's the main female character. The voice actress does the.
Yeah. He was telling me Jennifer English, who is going to be at Steel City Con, which I'm probably going to pinch my nose and attend so that I can meet the Baldur's Gate cast, even though I feel icky about it. Because fuck those people. But fuck the people who run it. Fuck the people who run it. There are good people who they're very good people who are involved. The people who run it are slime balls. And you could quote me on that. But a bunch of the Baldur's Gate people are going to be there, and I was like, fuck, God damn it! One time they have their finger on the pulse is right after they pull some fuck shit. But no, Mitch has been yapping at me about it, but we'll get to that in a minute here. Travis, how are you, bud? He said like we haven't been catching up for the last 30 minutes before I started the show, but we got to start it with banter.
I'm good. My place of work takes the week of 4th of July off every year, which is very lovely.
Yeah.
So this week I have been literally Friday hit. I was like, I don't really have any plans this week. I want to get some cleaning done. Need to work on some personal study stuff, which I have not done yet. But it's Friday night, and I'm like, and my roommate was also playing it, and so I had to take a break after finishing Act 2 because he was like, "This is insane! What I just experienced. I've never experienced in the game before." And I was like, "Okay." And I've only heard glowing 10 out of 10 game of the year, game of the decade. Maybe not game of the decade. Baldur's Gate is in this decade, but like the general consensus is this is one of like the greats. And it's only $50.
Damn.
Yeah. Like it wasn't like not on sale. It's retailing at 50. And so I literally Friday night I was like, you know what? I have a whole week ahead of me of nothing. Let's do it. So I bought it. And at around 10 o'clock last night, July 1st, I rolled credits.
Well, I guess I'm running out of excuses. Have you played Baldur's Gate 3 yet?
I have not finished it, but I've done a decent. I think I've finished Act 1.
Okay. That shit's good. That shit's real good. I've beaten it twice now. I did my own like TAV playthrough, and then I I did a very evil Dark Urge playthrough, which I did not feel good about. I needed to take a shower by the time I was done. Not that I didn't shower throughout my playthrough, but you know what I mean. Baldur's Gate 3 is remarkable, and Jennifer English is great as Shadowheart. I love she's a phenomenal character. You know, I was immediately drawn to her as a romance partner, as Baron from the Baronese would say.
A romance partner. Has Mitch been selling you one of the voice casts of this game?
No, he's only told me about Jen English.
Hold on. I want to make sure I don't miss anyone in particular. Ben Starr is the voice of one of the main party members, voice of the lead in Final Fantasy 16. Charlie Cox plays lead character Gustav.
What?
Yeah. And the villain, whose name and what they do I will not tell you, is played by Andy freaking Serkis. This is one of the best acted games I've ever played, and I've played Baldur's Gate 3. Like, it is incredible.
All right. Okay. Yep. Okay. Yep. That's it. Once I'm able to, I guess I'm gonna have to do it.
I don't listen to soundtracks very much outside of like experiencing them in the thing that they're in. Jarod, the music in this game is some of the greatest composition ever put to media. Like, I can't express how much I've been thinking about just the music.
I'm running out of excuses. God damn it. That is that cast is so stacked. If I may, real quick on the Baldur's Gate of it all, and then I want to make one thing abundantly clear. I think the cast is phenomenal. I think they were amazing performances, and this is not a criticism of Neil Newbon at all. He's phenomenal as a Starian, and I look forward to meeting him and shaking his hand over it. I can't get over the fucking Tim Curry voice. Can't get over the fucking Tim Curry voice. And Taylor would get so mad at me when she started playing that, like, after a Starian would say things, if I was just walking by, I would just hit him with a and she would every time. She was like, "Why do you fucking do that?" I was like, "Because it's fucking vampire twink Frankenfurter." She also has made a habit of giving everybody in the party nicknames. Shadowheart is Shady, Jahira is JJ, Karlak is Carly, and she calls Astarian Starry. She calls him Starry. But anytime I get the chance, I call him Ass Boy. And she also doesn't care very much for that. So when I meet Neil Newbon next month, I'm probably gonna get an autograph signed Ass Boy. And I'm going to be vindicated because I know in my heart of hearts, based on everything I've seen from Neil Newbon, he's going to think calling a Starry an ass boy is really fucking funny.
Yeah.
But when your vampires spawn and everybody you're hanging out with tells you you're not allowed to drink their blood, you know you might have to go with, Travis?
A Bloody Susan.
See, I didn't like that. I didn't like that. Mark,
hey,
like marks for the attempt. I don't like Bloody Susan.
Hey, sometimes you swing and you miss.
Sometimes you swing and you miss, but you know what doesn't miss? Sunday's Bloody Mary. You guys know the drill. Sunday's Bloody Mary has the most badass Bloody Mary accoutrement in the multiverse with their 3-time award-winning spicy Caesar mix, as well as their mild and traditional mixes if the spice ain't for you. In my humble former bartender opinion, there is nothing quite as good as a Bloody Mary made from scratch, no mix, until I tried Sunday's Bloody Mary. It is the only Bloody Mary mix that is better than a from scratch Bloody Mary. It puts every other mix to shame. It is the only one you will ever see me drinking ever. So use the link in the description down below. Use the code TNAP, TNAP at checkout, and help out your favorite nerds while you do it. But
One moment, my earbuds have died.
oh no. All righty, getting on in here. Did you have anything else on Claire Obscure? Because that was like the first thing on the hit list in the show notes that you added.
Yeah, basically just play the game. It's so good.
Heard.
Yeah. Yeah, I just finished the main story after 25 hours, roughly.
That's not bad.
And there's still a shit ton to do on the back end. So, yeah. Incredible
Oh,
music,
yeah.
incredible voice cast. Game's beautiful. Go buy it and play it.
I'm looking at the title for the next segment you put in here. For everybody at home, it says Sonic the Hedgehog, harbinger of the largest ban in 20 years. So you want to run me through this? I'm assuming we're getting Sonic and Magic the Gathering.
Yes, we are. I had no idea this was coming. These will work like
Man, them
March.
card shops are about to be smelling ripe.
Yeah. It's funny you mentioned that. So they did the Marvel ones a couple months ago, and those were objectively a huge failure because the way these work, these aren't like a traditional set.
Uh-huh.
These are individual packets of like 6 to 7 cards that are like set cards. You know what you're getting. The first round of Marvel ones, and when they sell these, it's a limited supply. So the shop
Right.
opens, they have a limited number. When they sell out, they sell out. Which means nobody actually gets to use the cards, and then they're way too expensive on the secondary market, and there's no other cards that do like they are mechanically unique cards for these characters, so you
Yeah.
can't play them in other ways. The Deadpool one had a new model, I guess, where it went on sale online, and then a month later they appeared. The non-foil versions were on sale in Wizards affiliated local game stores, which is how I got my Deadpool Secret Lair. Which
And
this
for the
system,
Marvel ones, correct me if I'm wrong, they did General Marvel and then they did Deadpool and Spider-Man as their own things.
they did. So the first round of Marvel was Wolverine, Black Panther, Captain America, Iron Man, Storm.
Yeah.
I think that was it. Then they did Deadpool on its own.
Yeah.
Spider-Man is getting his own full standard set in September.
Okay. So yeah, but like they were like here's like a bunch of Marvel heroes and then here's all Deadpool and then here's all Spider-Man related stuff. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like we're getting a 200 to 300 card set of Spider-Man.
Holy God.
Yeah. A lot of Spider-Man. And what they showed was like one of the first round. What I showed you was one of the first rounds of like here are some cards that are going to be in the set with some cool panoramic art. They like to do that for they like to do that in general, but especially for Universes Beyond sets where you can paint scenes. Like they did a lot of these for Lord of the Rings, where a lot of the arts would like
Yeah.
blend into one image. But yeah, we're getting Shadow the Hedgehog or Sonic the Hedgehog. Sorry, Shadow's the one on my mind because Shadow the Hedgehog is now objectively the strongest commander in Red Black in the game. What they did with this card is absolutely bonkers, and I'll never forgive them. And I will have to purchase one and play it. I won't bore you with the magic rules speak of why it's so busted. But it's like when you take a busted, because there are a lot of busted abilities in the game tied to really bad cards, and that's how they balance it. Where like, here's
Mhm.
this really bad overcosted card, it has a bonkers ability. So when you're able to apply that ability to cards that are already designed in another way, it gets really broken. And that's what Shadow does, and it's going to be insane. This was days before Magic finally decided to fix its standard format, which is the premier competitive format. So it's the last 3 years of sets, are what's legal and standard at any given time. It rotates every fall. Sets drop off, sets come back on. They just had a Pro Tour, which is the highest level competitive event, where 43% of the metagame was one deck list, which is
That I fucking hate that. I fucking hate that, man. I tangentially related to that because I am in a toxic relationship with Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes. I miss when that game was wacky.
mm-hmm.
I miss when that game was like you'd have these like wild fucking teams that like lacked thematic cohesion but all lended itself well mechanically. You know, like, and I'm not even going to get started on why the raids kind of suck now. But like back in the day with the Rancor raid, where like the best team was Darth Vader lead, Boba Fett, a Magma Trooper, that makes sense. And then you throw Luke Skywalker and Han Solo in there because mechanically they did exactly what you needed them to do. And it was awesome. It was cool as shit. And I love that. You know, I remember whenever you could just put Grand Admiral Thrawn in any team. Put Thrawn in any team. It didn't matter. He elevated everything. Everything got better when you put Thrawn in it. And an Enfys Nest from Solo. Enfys Nest and Thrawn just showing up in random teams. It was the best. And now I open up Squad Arena in Galaxy of Heroes, and it's just the same team, same team, same team, same team. Everybody's running the same teams and the same lineups, and it's awful. It's just so not like whimsical anymore. And they'll have these big build up events so that like, oh guys, look at this amazing character we're adding to the game. We're not going to make them versatile in any way, shape, or form. We're putting this character in the game with the expectation that they will basically only function with the last 4 characters we added to the game. Like, we are going to put specific callouts in their kit every time so that they're only functional here. And I hate that shit. And that disappoints me that Magic the Gathering is the same way too now.
Yeah, it's not always like this. It's just that like the sets that have come out in the last year or so have all lent themselves to 2 decks that are functionally the same deck, but one of them adds a color. So it's either mono red or red blue, where the entire goal is you play a bunch of little dudes that all get bigger when you play non-dude spells.
Okay.
And then you play a bunch of pump spells that are objectively good. There's one in particular, it's on the list that got banned. Pump spells are generally costed, like they'll give a stat buff, and then they might also give a keyword, but that keyword's not going to stay the whole. It's only going to stay for the turn. In particular, the word trample, which means your damage will carry over anything that blocks it to the other person. There's a pump spell printed, I think, a year and a half ago that granted permanent trample. So we went from this like burst damage deck where if you could survive the first 3 or 4 turns, you could probably stabilize and come back to you just can't do it. And so as a result, they banned 7 cards on Monday. 4 of them. Hold on. Nope, that one's not. 3 of them. 4 of them. 4 of them are all for the variants of this red or red-blue deck. By the way, the 43% was just the red-blue variant. That does not include the mono-red variant. Format is... They also... So part of the reason this is also happening is because they extended the When standard used to be the last 2 years of sets, they expanded it to 3, and we're still kind of recovering from the fact that like some of the cards, we're maybe out of this period now, but like some of the sets were designed for a 2-year standard, meaning they like when they're making sets for 2 years down the line, they're not thinking about cards all the way down here.
Yeah.
And like it feels like maybe we're still feeling the remnants of that a little bit. But like as a result, the Final Fantasy set that came out a couple weeks ago, which is the highest selling Magic set of all time in pre-sales, like just by pre-sales.
Damn. I'm not
Basically,
surprised by that, but damn.
right? Basically has no cards that I'm aware of being used in standard because these decks were so oppressive. And so people have been wanting to span for a while. I think maybe just I haven't read the actual announcement. I've just seen I just see the list. And no one was surprised. But this is the last time they banned this many cards was in a set called Mirrodin in 2005 ish, 2003. I wasn't playing then, obviously. I was like 6.
Yeah.
So my dates on that aren't as concrete, but like this is one of the biggest bans they've ever done for a competitive format. And everyone's talking about Sonic the Hedgehog.
I mean, there's a silliness to Sonic, like just as an idea that I understand why that's overshadowing this, but that's fucking wild.
Yeah, we're basically we have one more real Magic set of the year, and then it's just all other IPs because we get one more set in August, we get Spider-Man in September, and then we're getting Avatar: The Last Airbender in November.
Avatar's good. That is such a no-brainer of a collab doing Avatar.
But yeah,
But hell yeah.
that's all my
Hell yeah.
Magic stuff. I usually like I'll decide on whether or not if I want to include it, just because obviously it's a much more me centric conversation, and sometimes when we record, it's removed enough from the news that I'm like, it's too far away. Like we're not close enough to it. But this is like a couple days ago, so
Okay. Well then perfect. Perfect. That lines up then. Well, you brought up Spider-Man. Speaking of, we have like a weird kind of smorgasbord of Spider-Man related topics to hit real quick. First one being, we have some really exciting updates around Spider-Man Brand New Day. We've heard rumblings that the Hulk is going to be in it, but we do have an official confirmation that John Bernthal, Frank Castle, the Punisher himself, is going to be appearing in Spider-Man Brand New Day. Reading from the Boris Kitt Hollywood Reporter article, much of this movie remains shrouded in mystery. Movie rumor websites have listed upwards of a dozen possible villains, from crime bosses to alien symbiotes, who could appear in this feature, as well as a couple different versions of the Hulk. The rumor mill for Spider-Man Brand New Day is kind of disorienting right now. I know at some type of like products and toys conference Disney did, they were talking about how there was they were talking about Scorpion, Tombstone, and Boomerang being in the film. And I kind of like the idea of them doing the whole Punisher just showing up and is killing villains thing. And that would make sense as to why there's like 3 extra villains in here. There's also been rumors about Mr. Negative. There's also now rumors about Silver Samurai being the big bad of the film. Silver Samurai feels a little out of left field and I don't love it. This feels like a good time to do a Mr. Negative story. I don't love Silver Samurai showing up as an idea. But if there's shit going on that involves Punisher and Spider-Man, the idea I was kind of like bandying about with some of our mutual friends the other night while we were playing Fortnite. Fortnite Blitz. I'm fucking addicted, by the way. That shit satiates my bloodlust way too well. I'm a very, very violent man when I play Fortnite, and Blitz is not good for me. Um, the we were kind of talking about this idea about, like, Frank shows up, he kills some villains. I gotta say, I feel some type of way about it being. I don't want to lose an MCU Tombstone or Scorpion this early to the Punisher.
Mm-hmm. I
Those
will
are
say,
villains I like a lot, and I'd like to see them get some more time than just getting iced by Frank.
if this movie is pre-Secret Wars, though, they kind of have free reign to do whatever they want. Like,
Sure. What I'm hoping they do, and this is a pie in the sky, we'll see if it happens type thing. What I'm hoping for is Frank, because we know Hulk is going to be in it, so Hulk will be doing the mentor role and like doing shit with Peter. I love the idea that Spider-Man and Punisher are at odds because Punisher is just, like I said, just whacking dudes. Um, they are forced into a situation where the Hulk goes off the rails, and they have to team up to try to bring the Hulk back down to level. And while all holy hell is breaking loose, is when the multiverse starts to cave in on itself. Like, I kind of want Spider-Man to be put in an unwinnable position, and in that classic Parker luck kind of way, that's also when a cosmic Armageddon begins.
mm-hmm.
Like, that's kind of what I'm hoping for. And, like, yeah, maybe it's a cop out, maybe it's a little Deus Ex Machina, but, like, I kind of love the idea of, just as Peter is, like, dealing with a normal problem, as normal as his life can ever be, that,
Yeah,
like, oh man, like, at least it's just everybody hears from Earth.
right. It's like, well, because it's the thing of like, okay, I'm not dealing with Avengers stuff. I'm not having to, operate in a world where I'm connected to all of these other people. I'm not off world. I'm just dealing with streets of New York problems.
Yeah.
And then, a wormhole opens up and Galactus is trying to eat the world and
Yeah.
whatever else.
Oh, purple shatter lines are appearing in the sky,
A,
and
a
reality's
big,
caving in on itself.
a really big cloud shows up and it's really scary.
Yes. And if you look at it when the lightning strikes just right, you can see the silhouette. Um, but no, I'm really excited about that. How are you feeling about Punisher entering the fray here?
It's cool. It's one of the things where like Spider-Man gets to play both worlds of being, Avengers level superhero and street level superhero.
Mm-hmm.
So it'll be cool to get street level Spider-Man in the MCU. Um, I'm curious if they're back and forth because obviously we've gotten this kind of thing with Daredevil already. So I'm gonna be curious how they play it there. Also, how much older Peter's gonna be because depending on when this takes place, Peter should be like maybe 18 to 20.
Around that ballpark, yeah.
We're getting there.
Yeah, we're getting there. I wouldn't mind a real time gap
Well,
at all.
they've still been playing ahead because like doesn't Thunderbolts take place in like winter of or like fall to winter of 27?
Yeah, that's in 27.
Okay. So hold on. He blips back in 23 and he's 16. Oh, maybe he's like 20. Yeah, he's like 20. Okay, or 21.
Yeah.
All right. I can live with that.
Yeah, no, I like it a lot. Like I said, like, this is one of those things where it's like, I don't want to speculate wildly, because like that kind of thing tends to just like it yields conversations that go nowhere,
Right.
in my opinion. And like I said, I think this is really cool. I think it's a layup choice.
Hmm.
We all want Daredevil, we all want Spider-Man and Daredevil to team up, for real. And I want that as much as the next guy. Unfortunately, I don't. I don't want there to be a Spider-Man Daredevil versus the Kingpin story until the dust settles.
Mhm.
You know, if that was going to happen, it should have happened several years ago. You know, just because because right now we're getting to that point where if Secret Wars ends with any type of continuity reset, I don't want plot threads to get lost in the shuffle, especially anything that has to go through Sony,
Mhm.
because it's done with such an arm stretched out of in the event we can never touch this again, we kind of need to play our cards right. So I don't want to see the Daredevil stuff until after things level out and we get whatever, probably one or two more movies or two or three more movies with Tom Holland as Spider-Man. I still maintain, I can't remember her name. I still maintain that Rio Morales is in this movie, and I think we're building towards
Mhm.
Miles. What is the actor's name? She was cast about a month ago. Liza Colon Zayas. And she looks like a good Rio Morales. Also, gotta love getting a cast list when you Google things. Because
Let me guess. They have Robert Downey Jr. in there as Captain America. They have Hugh Jackman is of course reprising his role as Wolverine in this movie, as he has in
yeah,
every Marvel movie.
yep.
Um, uh,
There are two here that are absolutely have not been announced in the film, and one of them is absolutely hilarious that they're here.
Let me see if I can pick them out. Hold on. Let's.
One of them, I understand why they got put here. They're not here. I understand the math, but because of cultural conversations, it's really funny that this actor is here. I'm using gender neutral terms.
Yeah, I see it.
Oh, you Googled it? Oh, you
Yeah.
motherfucker. Because
That's funny.
If you Google the cast, it tells you Sydney Sink
Sweet.
or Sadie Sink, Holland, Zendaya, Sydney Sweeney,
Yep.
Bernthal battling Charlie Cox, who again would love it, but probably not. And no Mark Ruffalo here, but Sydney Sweeney's here.
Yep. Well, yeah, because Madam Web was a huge hit.
More like hitting my head off of the ground. Hey.
Hey.
But
Oh,
very excited for Punisher stuff. It'll be cool. I'm looking forward to the moment where the Punisher blows some guy's head off, and we get Peter Parker going, "Oh, Mr. Castle, I don't think you should be doing that." Listen to your webs. You web them up and they get stuck to the wall. I shoot them with a gun and they fucking die. I'm very much looking forward to that.
They just ripped that straight for dialogue. That's it.
Yeah,
You gave them the script.
I know it's right there. It's right there. I really do. I don't know if you watch Born Again yet. They really lean into this idea that the Punisher just has this terrifying fucking battle cry that is just it's dude, there's a couple scenes where the Punisher just starts doing Mortal Kombat shit, and the whole time it's just Mark Ruffalo, fuck me, John Bernthal, just going it's literally this. Play.
All right, ladies and gentlemen.
I
That,
knew
but
what
it's
it was going to be as soon as you went, it's literally, and I went, oh, wait a minute. He did the Alex Jones scream.
he's literally it's just Punisher disemboweling people while doing that noise. It's amazing. Our second bit of Spider-Man stuff, which I'm very excited for because I didn't get a chance to see it when it came back last year. The Sam Raimi Spider-Man trilogy is coming back to the theater this fall. Let me get the release dates down real quick. So all three films will be available in theaters for 2 nights. Spider-Man 2, and Spider-Man 3 will return on September 26th, 27th, and 28th. And then there will be an encore run on the 3rd, 4th, and 5th. And for Spider-Man 3, they are doing the editor's cut, which I have never actually gotten to see before, but I'm very excited to see. As you know, people know, I am one of the few defenders of Spider-Man 3. I very much enjoy that movie, both for the bit and sincerely. And yeah, the editor's cut. Hold on, let me get the details right on this.
I just saw a TikTok on this actually, on the editor's cut, not the re-release, but some of the minor changes that make things make a little more sense.
Yeah, like they don't have Bernard the butler tell Harry about Norman being the Green Goblin and maybe how he shouldn't worship him. That would have been a great Schmodown 5-pointer. What's the name of the butler in the Sam Raimi Spider-Man movies? That's how you become a champion. Bernard.
Bernard. I need his social security number or it doesn't count.
So yeah, so we have like the Dickovich family. Trying to hold on. Yeah, so there's some more stuff with the Dickovich family. Stuff of Peter being like visibly tempted into putting on the symbiote again, where it's like him like being presented with a choice and making the wrong decision. One sequence, this is here on CBR, one sequence giving the illusion that the suit itself is breathing. One of the more emotional moments in Spider-Man 3, I'm reading from the article here, is the second showdown between Peter and New Goblin, my boy. After Harry has quietly orchestrated a breakup between Peter and MJ in the theatrical release, Peter attacks Harry after Osborn taunts his estranged friend over his recent kiss with MJ. However, the fight begins differently in the alternate cut. In this version, a cockier Peter is waiting for Harry in the penthouse, reclining on the couch rather than on the apartment's balcony, which I love because I also saw something about this where it's like it's Peter laying on this couch with his hands behind his head, legs kicked up on the couch where he laid Norman's dead body. Fucking devious. There's more stuff with the Sandman, Harry's redemption. So yeah, I'm very excited to see the editor's cut. Again, I love this. I really do love Spider-Man 3. I understand why it doesn't work for people. I fucking love it. And also, I will ride and die for the New Goblin. I think that design is awesome, and nobody can ever convince me that I'm wrong.
I have like visceral memories of Spider-Man 3 was my quintessential like bad movie that I loved as a kid that I didn't understand why people were saying it wasn't good. And I remember seeing it with my parents in theaters and my dad being like, "Oh, I didn't really like that one." Like it was too messy or whatever. Like he had legitimate criticisms of a movie and me as a however old I was like, 8 or 9 and being like, "I don't understand what that means." Spider-Man did flips.
Spider-Man did flips that he was mean in the black suit.
Yeah.
No. I mean, I like I said, I understand. It's cluttered. It's kind of a mess. This was the beginning of Avi Arad being a fucking terrorist to this franchise and being like, we need to sell the action figures. The kids love Venom.
Yeah.
The kids love Venom. I understand all that, but I really do love it. There are a few. I like being very honest. There are few superhero movie moments that get my blood pumping and my heart racing more than New Goblin showing up to help Peter during the final battle. That shit is crack to me. That driving symphony leading into it, I'm here to help. You couldn't come a little sooner. Hey, now, like that whole interaction is just, I love it. I think part of the reason why I love that moment, if I can get weirdly specific, and I've realized over time that I have a habit of going, I love this thing that people don't like because of this obscure thing people also either don't know about or still don't like. And it's from you remember Spider-Man Friend or Foe?
That sounds familiar.
Okay. So it's this video game that came out. Neil Patrick, it's one of the or no, James Arnold Taylor plays Peter in this one. I believe it's it's James Arnold Taylor. Plays Peter. And it uses all of the designs from the Raimi movies. So it's Spider-Man with like the raised silver webbing and like, the armored Green Goblin. Doc Ock looks like Alfred Molina. Venom looks like Raimi Venom, but he's built the way comic Venom is.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
I pulled up images of the game. I have vague memories of this.
I loved it because the opening cutscene showed Spider-Man or Peter and Harry as like a tag team duo. That they were like working together, but it was with a bunch of villains who were already dead. So it was it felt like a more comic booky version of the Raimi movies, and I really liked that as a kid. And I loved that. I love the idea of Harry and Peter being a team. So, I like obviously Friend or Foe came out after the movie, but I think playing Friend or Foe so much made me really love the idea of, man, I wish we could have gotten more of them working together as a unit. But either way, I'm very excited. I plan on, at the very least, I will be seeing Spider-Man 3 editor's cut. At the very least. But one last thing, something I found very interesting. John Watts, director of the Tom Holland Spider-Man trilogy, did a little interview. He was talking about some stuff, and I thought this was very, very interesting. It's in the age of kind of dismissing the multiverse nostalgia era of like blockbuster cinema, seeing somebody out loud go, I saw the fans were saying this and I told them no. And I said I can't do it because they're already expecting it. Makes me really happy because I don't think that the creatives should have to justify their creative choices to the fans ever. But I also appreciate, again, in a world of like, oh, they just looked at Reddit and made that the movie. I like seeing that be directly contradicted. So John Watts was speaking with a guy from a website.
A guy from a website.
It was fucking Frosty from Collider. But I was trying to not do it. But he was talking about how Reddit had actually predicted an exact sequence from No Way Home. The quote from that: there had been rumors that Toby and Andrew were going to be in the movie, and this is while we're shooting. We were writing the script and we were working on where we wanted the reveal of the guys to be. And it always seemed like Peter's going to be sad because Aunt May had just died, and then just the portals are going to open and two Spider-Men are going to step out. It's probably on a rooftop somewhere. It's all hazy. You're kind of you're trying to figure that out. And this is from the Entertainment Weekly article on this. However, the filmmaker poked around online and discovered that fans had predicted that pivotal moment exactly as he'd first envisioned it. Quote, then I was on Reddit and I was looking at people who had already made fan art of this is probably what it's going to be like with the two Spider-Men get revealed. It was on a rooftop. It was sad. There was two Doctor Strange portals were open and two Spider-Men are stepping out. And I was like, well, can't do that. If that's already exactly what everyone thinks we're going to do, we absolutely can't do that. And then he went on to say, I was like, what does no one expect we're going to do? What's something that no one's going to see coming? I was like, probably having the two Spider-Men appear at Ned's Filipino grandmother's house in Queens. I don't think anyone was doing fan art of that on Reddit.
Joke's on you, John. I have it right here.
Yeah, pulls it out. Dated. Like I said, I just think that's fun and funny. You know, I think that there's a cynicism that comes with this stuff, and I think it's unfair at times. You know, I like I said earlier, I made my way through the Jurassic Park movies. I've seen Jurassic Park, and I saw the first Jurassic World, but I hadn't seen any of the others. And this past week, I was watching them all, and I put this in my Letterboxd review. I cannot believe the shit that the Jurassic World movies get away with, that Marvel and Star Wars get crucified for doing so much less.
It's because no one pays attention to them. Like Jurassic World came out and was a success at the box office, and then Chris Pratt had his fall off, and people. I don't know anyone that has seen movies outside of Jurassic World in theaters. I know a lot of people that went and saw. I saw Jurassic World in theaters as not a Jurassic Park. Like I say that like I dislike them, but like I've never been that into Jurassic Park as a franchise. Yeah, it's just a little before my time, and I didn't have anyone in my life that was like it was of theirs. I don't. Again, last recording, I was drinking a Dr Pepper that had an ad for the new Jurassic Park movie, and I didn't know it was coming out. Like that's how little I think collectively fandom has paid attention to Jurassic World, which is why, like, for one reason or another, that's not me criticizing the movies that I haven't seen, but like between the Chris Pratt fall off and the what seems to be the continuing plot of, well, we need a new super dinosaur and then we need a super dinosaur.
So you say that the box office for Fallen Kingdom, which was the second Jurassic World movie, 1.3 billion.
Let it be known, I've been wrong before and I'll be wrong again. But like,
and the most recent Jurassic World, obviously not the one that comes out at the end of the week, clocked in at just over $1 billion. Man, like I said, I don't hate these movies. I want to make that clear. I just don't understand how these make this much money.
Dinosaurs and children exist.
That's fucking crazy. 1.4 billion.
I think they can get away. I mean, also because like their demographic is young. I say younger kids, like they aren't about dinosaurs eating people, but like when you're a little kid, you don't need plot. You just need cool dinosaurs.
Oh, sure. I mean, it is the major franchise IP spread. It's children and people who grew up on it.
Yeah.
You know, and I understand on that level, like, you know, there's a built-in audience, you know, and there's always going to be a new batch of kids who just want to look at dinosaurs. You know, I understand that. But like, bro, I'm not fucking kidding with you right now. When I watched Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom, my jaw was in my lap, because that Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom and the Lost World Jurassic Park, which is the second movie, they are to each other what people think The Force Awakens and A New Hope are to each other. Like, the plot of The Lost World is shit went down on Jurassic Park. There's a second location We need to go back and do like do both research and a rescue mission. Come back. Oh shit, we got double crossed by the people who sent us there. And now all of these suits are trying to show off the fact that they've stupidly brought the dinosaurs back to the States and try to make a buck off of it. And that is, I described both movies just now. Like, to a T. And I was like, this is insane. Like, the amount of like like nostalgia bait navel gazing happening in fucking Dominion. I was like, this is the movie. This is to quote some friends of ours. This is the movie a lot of people think they saw when they saw The Rise of Skywalker. Made even funnier by the fact that story by and directed by the guy who was supposed to do episode 9.
Yeah, I do remember the most recent one coming out at the same time, around the same time the one Ghostbusters movie came out, where they brought back the original cast, and they did it in both movies. And for both movies, it just kind of was one of those things of like, we've hit a Hollywood fatigue, similar to like in conjunction with the multiverse thing, where it's like, oh, it makes money to bring back the original cast for nostalgia. And that's not me, again, I have no idea how it was written into the script. I don't know how it played. Didn't see the movies. Not my bag. But
When
I
did
remember
Dominion come
that
out?
being the vibe of like, oh, now every movie just has to bring back the original cast of the first movie when possible.
Hold on, I'm trying to figure out when. Oh yeah, Ghostbusters Afterlife came out in 21, and then so Afterlife ends with the original Ghostbusters showing up. Like it ends with them showing up to help the new characters.
Yeah.
And like I don't hate that ending, it doesn't it isn't like Dominion, the original 3 from Park kind of steal the show. And not in a like we're excited to see them way, like in a they kind of take over a plot that has been going on
Mm-hmm.
with, Chris Pratt, Bryce Dallas Howard, their adopted clone daughter, which I want to make abundantly clear I called. I want everybody who watches this and Pro and Noob to know I know a cloned little girl when I see one. I know scoped Ray Ayanami and I know scoped Maisie Lockwood. I know clones when I see them. Feel it. Now I want to start a conspiracy theory here that the Jared who hosts the Nerd Academy is not the same Jared who hosted Dewback Discussion. I'm a clone.
Probably.
Yeah, that I think that's a fun. I think
It's
that's a convoluted plot element to throw into Nerd Academy lore now.
it's wild that you said adopted clone daughter, and I'm not gonna lie, I didn't flinch. I was like, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
That's yeah.
No, we were like 15 minutes into the movie, and I just looked at Taylor and I went, "It's going to be about human cloning." And she looked at me and she said, "Yeah," and I was like, "There's going to be a human clone. That's the next logical step here. There's no way it's not another. There's no way there's not a clone person here." I was right. I was right. I was right. I know clones when I see them. But yeah, but like Afterlife. So Dominion as opposed to Afterlife. If I were to describe how the OG Ghostbusters show up in Afterlife, it would be if I like say at the end of The Force Awakens when Rey has her moment where she pulls the lightsaber out of the snow and then and goes to face off with Kylo Ren. It's like that scene, but if Luke had force pulled the lightsaber out of the snow and then handed the lightsaber to Rey.
Ah, I see.
Is kind of how that scene plays.
Mm.
But it's executed well. Because like when I say that, it sounds terrible. When I say that, it sounds awful. But it's very well executed for a concept that I probably would have been skeptical about, but it works.
Mm-hmm.
So like, yeah. And again, I think that like obviously on some level, like, yeah, studio cynicism is a thing. I'm not going to pretend it isn't. But
Yeah. Again, I'm not
I just
actually.
and I know I'm preaching to the choir. I just hate how cynical the fans are and like the consumer is to not just look at this and go, oh, like this is an opportunity to continue these stories, and they immediately write it off as like, oh, nostalgia, cash grab.
Mhm.
I just think immediately reacting to stuff like that just is. I think that itself is anti art, in my opinion.
I think that's valid. There's like, well, there's a difference between recognizing a business pattern and
Mhm.
because again, as someone who has not watched these movies and just observed like it's the same thing with multiverse stuff. Where like I'm not bashing the idea of multiversal stories when I say that I'm tired of multiverse stuff. It's just that like, or even to take it back to something that like, because I'm not tired of multiverse stuff, but the stuff that I'm actually tired of is the MCUification of media, where like, oh, everything has to be a connected universe all the time because that's what people love, and it's like, no, that worked for the MCU because they built it up over time and they they're still figuring it out. Like it's still not a perfect
Yeah.
system. Whereas like you can watch in real time people trying to make art with executives over their head saying it has to be a certain way. And there's a nuance that obviously a lot of people don't have to going, oh, I can see where this decision came from. And if it's something I'm already not gonna engage with, it's really easy to write off and be like, "Oh, it's just for that," which I try not to do, and obviously I'm victim to as much as anyone else. Uh, but like the it's hard to recognize like, "Oh, this is a thing clearly like a lot of producers are trying to push because they know it's going to bring people in,"
Yeah.
versus like, "Oh, hey, um I'm really excited about like when they brought back um I mean, you look at Robert Downey Jr. as Doctor Doom, and over half the reaction from fans was like, "What the fuck are we doing?" Like,
Yeah. Yeah. And again, maybe that's a me thing where I get really Pollyanna and go, oh, but like, look at all these storytelling opportunities where I look past the cynical studio decisions
yeah,
and
and
I
I
go,
think
look at what it could be. And again, and maybe I'm being naive, and I can admit that. Maybe I'm the one being naive, and everybody else has a adequately cynical opinion. I, however, go, wait a minute, there's something here, and
well
you
because
know,
for you, and I'm gonna do my best to not phrase this like a negative because it's not, but like you kind of take the what I just talked about as a given standard of like, oh yeah, of course that's happening. I can't change that, and it doesn't affect the fact that I'm still gonna see this movie with these characters I love. Like you and I say you, we both do this. It's just I do it with a lot less media, I feel. Um, where like recognizing, oh, there's some corporate bullshit at play here that no matter what I do, it's going to be there. What's the actual story implications of what's happening? Does the plot work? Does like you actually engage with the thing after that versus hitting that wall and going, and I say that like I hit the wall and go, oh well, I won't engage with this. When in reality,
of course,
it's like, oh, I already don't really I'm not involved in Ghostbusters. I've only seen the original movie, like, maybe once in total in, like, split up chunks. I've
hmm
definitely seen scenes from Ghostbusters 2 and not known I was watching Ghostbusters 2. Um, so to see that happening with, like, whatever these new movies are, for me, is like, "Oh, well, yeah, that's happening, I guess." Like, I don't particularly care, but I can see, like, the thread of, like, "Oh, they did this in part because the producer said, "Hey, we have to bring back the original cast because 'cause that'll make money." Um, which isn't even like a necessarily a bringing back the original cast is the new fad. It's just because of the multiverse stuff Marvel was doing, because again, MCUification of media, where like, oh, they found a way to incorporate that into the plot where it works. Can they do it with these other movies where they don't get as much leeway on sci-fi nonsense?
yeah,
You know?
absolutely. But yeah, yeah, fun little multiverse stuff there. Other quick, I mean, some of these other ones, there's not a whole lot of meat on the bone. Aside from one of them, we have a little bit of a discussion on. Um, Travis, a crisis has been averted. I'm so afraid that the people who decided that they were going to rat fuck Wiley Coyote, I was legitimately afraid that the Batman 2 might get canned. I'm not even gonna lie to you. I was legitimately afraid for
This
it.
is the first piece of Batman 2 news I have believed since we've started getting Batman 2 news, only because it was posted by Matt Reeves and was a photo of it, like in the way that you like for proof you hold up a newspaper with the
Newspaper
date.
of the day.
That's how I felt seeing the image where I was like, "Oh my god, for once I can believe what I'm seeing." Oh,
That's so fucking funny, Travis. Holy shit.
I just can't. We're so brain rotted, and people are so brain rotted. We're like there is a part of me. I'm going to say this now in a format that will be publicized. So if one day I decide to do it, people can figure out what's going on. I have for the last year been contemplating opening a new account on the website of our Lord, twitter.com, where I just make up fake headlines. Like the only purpose is to spread fake random like nerd media headlines that are absolute nonsense but could be believable. In like not even in like the Onion style where it's clearly parody, where I'm just like making cast announcements or something. Um and like making
Shit
fake
like
links.
Jonathan Groff to play Mole Man in Fantastic Four 2.
Exactly. And like just having dead links where like I'd have to find a way to make the links look like real images or something, but just like because people would believe it.
No, yeah.
People would absolutely eat it up because people eat anything up. When I talk to anybody about anything, it could be Magic the Gathering, it could be MCU, it could be Star Wars, literally anything. And then it's the gauge of like, okay, they say a thing that I know where they read it. Do they know it's bullshit? I know how they came to the opinion they have. Or the opinion that they seem to be expressing. Are they saying it as someone who saw it and knows it's wrong, saw it and learned it was wrong, or have they drank the Kool-Aid? And like then I have to engage with, is it worth my time to talk to this like is it worth my time to tell this person, "Hey, what you read's a load of horse shit."
See, you know why you're smarter than I am, Travis? I always tell them what they read was horse shit. I relish looking at somebody in the eyes and saying, "Never click on that link again."
It
Um,
depends on what it is, and like and it depends on how much I'm interacting with the person. Like for me, the big one is Magic. Where like because now people get into the people that got into Magic the Gathering from around 2019 to now are so separated from how the competitive game works and how the play design works and stuff that like I only know because I was following the Pro Tour in 2016. Where like when you talk to people about how bans get done, how formats are regulated, how cards are designed, they have formed opinions based solely on the social aspect of the game, or reading opinions based on like people that have only ever played Commanders, the social format that I
yeah.
unfortunately play, um, that my entire collection is built around, and like watching people have to be like, no, what you read or what you heard isn't actually how they design cards. Like it, like yeah, they make bad cards because they design cards for draft gameplay, not for
Yeah.
Commander. No, what you read about that casting for whatever isn't true because that like it came from this bad source, or it's like, well, they can't use that character, or you understand. We're like,
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's always like I will talk to people who are like not shitty Star Wars fans, who have
yeah.
decent opinions,
Well, and it's
who
the
will like
difference of
look at me with a straight face and be like, "Hey, do you know when that Old Republic movie's coming out?" And I want to run into a fucking wall.
uh-huh. And
And like
the
I've gotten mean about it too. I'm like, "Oh, the Old Republic movie. Let me guess, you saw Keanu's playing Revan, right?"
of course he is. Who else
Yeah,
do it?
yeah.
When they announce it in 20 years, it's going to be Keanu's skeleton doing it.
Yeah.
Well, it is the like. I'll say the first thing. We'll be like, oh, what you like? I don't think that's true. Is my usual lead in of they'll say a thing and I'll be like, I don't think that's right. And their reaction to that informs how I then communicate because they either go, no, I read it. I don't remember where I read it, but like it's definitely true. And I'll be like, I could convince you to eat your left shoe right now. We're not having this talk. I'm going to go talk to other people.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh my God. Yeah. I mean, like, it's just like, and again, I've been having this issue a lot lately because, like, Star Wars TikTok is having its own weird meltdown that I've been like fascinated by, where mostly because of the proliferation of fucking AI. That like there are just so many conversations that are just going off the fucking rails that are not attached to reality at all. And again, like in a world where misinformation is the default, like even mainstream media in situations that are far, 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 far more serious and far more grievous and far more just important in terms of manufacturing consent and burying leads and not covering stories at the adequacy that they, pardon my hiccups, that they deserve. That like this is small potatoes, but like my obsession for years, as as anybody who's listened to this show for any amount of time knows, is the way that like fandom culture disinformation is the beginning, is the tiny snowball that by the time it gets to the bottom of the hill is shit that is actually harmful. It starts with like, oh, I read this thing online that a bad actor who wants to convince me that the new stuff is bad because woke is telling me misinformation to make me think the older shit was cooler than this stuff. Like it starts there. And it's not that important in the grand scheme of things, but it starts there. And I'm like watching Star Wars TikTok be flooded with, people just saying shit that's factually incorrect. That is factually incorrect. Like it's become a meme. It has become a meme with like all of my Star Wars people about how I am one more Mace Windu uses the light side and the dark side away from committing an act of fucking terror. Like I am one away from that specifically. Like
get me, Jared, if you need some reprieve, get me in your For You page for 5 seconds. TikTok will be convinced you're a trans woman, a lesbian, and that you live in New York City.
TikTok already thinks that I'm a man, but a black male leftist who lives in New York. And I say that because every other video is Christian Divine.
Yeah, me too.
Divine. Who like, man, I'm like, I know how to pick my faves between like Christian Divine and Hassan, where I'm like, yeah, all the right people hate you.
Yep.
All the right people hate you. But it starts with the Mace Windu shit. It starts with like again, like people relitigating the Acolyte 1 year later, where again, it's just sheer disinformation. Or people just not engaging with the media in a way that is healthy or helpful at all. Stuff like they broke canon because of the Anasaia twins. Nope, factually incorrect. Nope, that doesn't devalue the Chosen One prophecy. You know how I know? Because I know what the Chosen One prophecy says. Because in Legends, we didn't know what the prophecy said. In canon, we do. And it specifies that a boy born of the Force with no father would come into existence around this time period. There are all of these fucking prerequisites that have to be met for Anakin Skywalker to be the fucking Chosen One. And the Anasaia twins don't hit any of them. But please continue to tell me how that breaks canon because your special emo white boy is getting supplanted by two black women. Please continue to tell me. Please continue to tell me it without saying those words, you fucking coward. Or again, with the Acolyte. Oh, they broke they broke the lore because they don't even understand how bleeding a kyber crystal works. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, oh, you mean this concept that got introduced in 20 fucking 20? It was sooner than that. I'm lying. It was like 2019 ballpark. But like well into the well into the Disney era.
Yeah.
That shit started in the Charles Soule comic run that came out under a Marvel banner because Disney owns Marvel as well. Tell me again how they fucked it up. And all of the circumstance around it. We'll bend over backwards to explain anything to do with Anakin or anything to do with Darth fucking Nihilus, a character from a game I know you motherfuckers never fucking played. Like again, please keep bending over backwards for all this disinformation to then lie about this shit. Travis, you want to know my favorite one I saw recently? That I'm not kidding. I make the joke I almost threw my phone when I read it all the time. This is not hyperbole. I almost threw my fucking phone.
Please enlighten me.
I'm getting angry again thinking about it. Like actually fucking angry. Like not like Jared's doing a bit, not like Jared's crashing out on air as a bit. Like this is me actually being angry over people just lying about shit for fun. I want to tell you the text that was on this video before I tell you the footage that was accompanying it. Okay? The text on it was, I miss when lightsabers actually worked before they got nerfed by Kathleen Kennedy.
Uh-huh.
Would you like to know the video they were showing while they were talking about this?
Please, God, please.
It was the fucking announcement for Darth Vader being in Soul Calibur 4! It was Darth Vader fighting goddamn Mitsurugi in 2008! And to add insult to fucking injury, you know what the next clip was? Demonstrating how cool lightsabers used to be? An episode from the Clone Wars that came out 4 years after Soul Calibur 4. What are we even talking about anymore? And it's all the time. It's with fucking everything. I haven't watched Ironheart yet. I plan on watching it over the next couple days. I wanted to sit down and just blast through the whole fucking thing. But like the amount, like again, and it's the same shit with the Anastasia twins and Anakin and Rey and Luke and everything else that like the fucking way I'm seeing popular nerd trades talk about how Riri Williams is a disrespect to Tony's legacy. Motherfucker, just say you're racist. I don't know what the fuck else to take from that. I don't know what else to take from that.
Yep.
Just call it misogynoir and call it a fucking day, man. I don't fucking get it. I do not fucking get it. I do not understand this weird language that I'm sorry sounds fashy. It sounds fashy in the same way that every single fucking video I see online anymore about that has anything to do with Rey Skywalker, Rey fucking Skywalker. That's the bitch's fucking name is Rey Skywalker. Okay. I cannot fucking get over the fact that like even videos that are not like doing weird sequel jerk off hate call her Rey Palpatine. And we get back to the whole she doesn't deserve it. She didn't earn it. It's weird. It's fucking weird. This obsession with like women and people of color earning the fucking right to be associated with their fucking childhood hero. It's bizarre. And it all starts with the fucking disinformation. It all starts up there. And then it rolls downhill and it starts to meld into other cultural impulses that lead to more disgusting behavior that affects the real world. And people don't fucking get that.
There's like 7 sociology doctorates that we could earn by just pursuing research in what we just talked about. What you just talked about.
Sure.
Like,
for sure.
Because it like at every turn you can dig a step deeper into like, oh, here's where this gets informed from like either a worldview standpoint or a Western civilization standpoint, an American specific standpoint, where like the it is insane to me when I tell because I have this discussion with a lot of people that don't care, and I say that not in the like demeaning way, but like
No.
they're not fascists, and so they they don't engage with the fact that like this is a real problem. And so when you tell people, "Oh yeah," when someone says they dislike these movies, then you have to start poking around and vetting to find out, do they just have an opinion about a film?
Yeah.
Do they just have an opinion about a film and are prone to the pipeline, or are they far gone? Are they at the anti-Semitism
Yeah.
level of the conspiracy board?
And they don't even realize it. They don't even
Yeah.
fucking realize it. Like that's like the central conceit of the Fandom Menace and How We Got Here Part 1. Is that as ridiculous as it sounds to say, the way nerd culture, and again, to quote Adam Witt, a Schmodown favorite of ours, Ken Knapsack, friend of the show, loves to bring up, that the amazing quote Adam Witt has that like the kids who grew up with Star Wars, the second they got the opportunity, they tried to kill it. And, this weird pop cultural conceit that like the thing before was always better, and like that toxic nostalgia runs parallel to the sociological, geopolitical, historical conceit that makes fascism exist.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
That whole idea of there is a golden age that we need to get back to that never fucking existed. That central conceit is the backbone of reactionary, right wing, and fascist ideology. And I'm not saying that if you think the sequels are bad, you're a fascist. What I'm saying is the people who make money telling you why they're bad for reasons that are objectively incorrect are feeding that. And that they're two sides of the same fucking coin.
It's the unfortunate thing that when we have to say something that generalizes, there's always a hole. When I say we, like sane people, there's a hole to poke in it where immediately the message gets lost because you can like my go-to is ACAB, right?
Yeah.
When you say ACAB, and as two white people, we are primed to talk about this.
Oh, of course.
When you say ACAB, someone who doesn't quite understand the messaging of it immediately defaults to, well, I know a single police officer that is not a vile villain of like scum of the earth person, and therefore ACAB can't be true, and I can't support whatever anti-police movement is going on. And it's like, no, the point is that foundationally police are formed as class suppression in every form, whether it's race, gender, or income. And to support that system as it exists means like you're supporting your own
suppression. You're yeah,
suppression.
like it's explaining to people that this does not mean the individuals are bad. It's that the institution is rotten to the core, and that there are good, well-meaning people who want to help people who are being poisoned by it, even if they don't realize it.
And then like the reverse of that is Pepe the Frog, where where they use Pepe the Frog to be Nazis.
Yeah.
And when you tell someone, oh yeah, I like Pepe the Frog inherently is not a hate symbol, but they used it to communicate, which made it a hate symbol. And then the reaction is people going, what are you talking about? It's just a meme. And those people aren't the fascists, but they're falling for it. Where they're like, because the fascist defense is this, what do you mean Pepe's a hate symbol? It's just a meme of a frog guy.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, no, but you're using it to, yeah. And then we like, no matter what,
it's the coded language. It's the coded language, like, and not to take this, not to take us being excited about the Batman 2 into this fucking lunacy, but like but you made the mistake of getting me going on fucking nerd disinformation. So this is your fault, and I take no
Oh yeah,
responsibility for my actions.
it's all I've been thinking about since I saw the headline. I'm not gonna lie, it's just like, oh my god, a headline I believe for once.
And but like the coded language again to reference Fandom Menace, how we got here again, like the Daily Dose.
Yeah.
It is not an accident that Vivian Blair, Vivica, whatever the fucking whatever the fucking mascot for Gamergate was. It's not an accident that her colors are green and purple.
I remember when the 30 on 30 memes were blowing up, and I was seeing them a bunch, and my default was like, oh god, what alt-right conspiracy is happening before my eyes? And then you sent me one, and I was like, oh thank god, this is a green flag, these are okay. Oh thank god. Either you haven't caught it yet, or I'm looking for nothing. Thank God. And then I just got to
I ain't catch it. I
memes.
just thought it was like, hey, let's make Vegeta like a weird libertarian, and I thought that was really funny.
Yeah, that seems to
A
be
weird
the consensus.
libertarian who raps,
Yeah.
which is
And
really
then talks
funny.
about finding the Ark of the Covenant eventually.
Yeah, the Ark of the Covenant inside of the IRS.
Yeah. So it's like, okay, there's nothing here that I'm aware of, and I'm sure in 10 years we're going to find out that actually they thought that this Vegeta, whoever's actually doing it, thought the JFK is still alive or something. Like,
Yeah, inevitably. But until then, anytime Travis and I attend a protest, we're just going to be, I'm not a big fan of the government. Anyway, all of that to say, I'm really excited about the Batman 2. I'm really glad the script is finished, and I'm so glad we're going to get subjected to more disinformation about this, I'm sure.
Christian Bale's coming back to reprise his role as Bruce Wayne.
Christian Bale is going to come back, but this time he's going to be playing an even inexplicably whiter Ra's al Ghul.
We find out that this is still the Nolan universe, but they've gone through an entire apocalyptic reset where now Christian Bale is immortal Ra's al Ghul, and Robert Pattinson's learning from him. And also, I want to go do things that I can't say for. I mean, we don't monetize, but things I shouldn't joke about.
Can't
wait for the Batman 2.
I can't wait for the Batman 2. Our second to last story. Early reactions to Superman are in. Now, everybody who saw these press screenings are under embargo. So there's not a whole lot in the way of reviews quite yet. But initial non-review thoughts are very, very, very positive. Again, to reiterate, friends owe the show. Ken Knapsack and Alden Diaz over on Anytime last week. Ken was giving his not a review thoughts. Was very much saying that this looks like it's going to be a big thing. That this is going to kind of be the thing we need right now. I'm very happy to hear overwhelmingly positive reactions. There's a couple quotes pulled from this article on MovieWeb. Gunn really cooked. We might have a Sam Raimi Spider-Man situation on our hands. The DCU is off to an impressive start. Blew my expectations. Might get in trouble for this, but one word, wow, is like one of like the first big reactions. Talking about how the one that I like a lot, saying it blends together the Richard Donner Superman with the Brandon Routh stuff, while taking the action of Henry Cavill Superman. Which, like, there's one thing those movies got right. It's how, like how to do Superman action, not the execution necessarily, but how to frame it, how to shoot it, how to present it.
It's like, as a cinematographer, Zack Snyder does have some talent, as much as I don't want to admit that.
Yeah.
Disrespect.
But yeah, man, I'm really excited by these positive reactions. I've had nothing but faith in this movie from day one. We both made it very clear we were putting all our chips on Superman in terms of, whether or not this movie is going to deliver. Box office time will tell. I think word of mouth is going to do this movie a lot of favors. I've seen speculation that because of how insane the marketing has been, that this is probably going to need to make a unholy amount of money to break even.
Yeah,
but you need to sell it. You need to sell it. And I don't think if this starts out a little slower, that's a bad thing, because you need to get people back on board.
Yeah. You're undoing a lot of years of damage. You
Mhm.
already, I can very easily see this movie getting review bombed.
Oh yeah.
Like, we're going to have a situation where Rotten Tomatoes says 90% critics and like 65% audience. And people are going to get really confused by that. And it's just the same bots that were spamming Save the Snyderverse or whatever the fucking hashtag was. Are going to be spamming like 1-star reviews saying how Henry got cheated and Snyder understood the character and there's no weight because there's like
Because Clark doesn't low-key hate being Superman. It's
yeah,
bad.
like the being tragically tortured is required for a protagonist and we can't just have a story about hope for God's sake. Like I don't understand the idea that every character has to be. Well, I do understand. Again, it's like I get it that every character for these people has to be Christian Bale's Batman. I don't get why you can't try a different fucking meal for once. Like, as someone who could eat, I'm literally going to go get the same 2 slices of pizza I had yesterday for lunch when we're done recording because I love the pizza place that's a block away from my apartment. I don't have to eat it every day.
No, you choose to.
I choose to because it's cheap, convenient, and delicious. But god damn it, sometimes I just want something else. I don't understand why these people can't just enjoy a different story for once. And like that's as someone who doesn't engage with them. And I like with any movement like that when you talk to one of these people that aren't fascists. Gonna draw that line really quick. When it is actually about the movies where you're like, why do you only like these things? And why do you expect everything you ever engage with to only be this? And maybe it's going to be the like 27-year-old white man doing acid for the first time and learning empathy. Maybe you do have that conversation with somebody. That's not mine. I stole that from a TikTok, but
Fucking A, that was good though.
Yeah, like any real quote, I stole it from a woman who unfortunately I could not call the name of right now. But the idea of like, oh, because like man, I was there too.
Yeah.
Right? The dark brooding story, man. We all loved it. We all thrived in it. That was our thing.
I just like, for me, again, not to drag the fucking episode kicking and screaming back to the like 15-minute tangent we went on, but like, again, I just have such a hard time not like. I was having a conversation with a friend the other day who sent me a very funny video of the Rizzler. And you know where this is going. And because we've had this conversation. And I said, I told her, I said, I said, I don't want you to think I didn't think this video was funny, because it was. But the popularity of the Rizzler was the first warning sign that we were going to backslide towards the right. And every time I said it, people looked at me like I was insane. With the amount of like cultural breakdown that had to happen for an internet character based on like incel phrenology to take off, the amount of layers that had to break down fundamentally. And I think this weird obsession with comparing David Cornsweet to Henry Cavill is rooted in that as well. I think every time I see a weird side by side where it's like, look at what they're giving us and look at what we had. So I already primed you at home. They'll look at what we had, already a red flag for me.
Mhm.
But it's always this like framing of like putting Henry Cavill Superman in the most like hyper masculine, godlike framing and making David Cornsweet look like just like frail little man. You know, trying to like it's this weird constant attempt to emasculate Cornsweet's Superman. And I look every time I look at that and I'm like, how does nobody else notice the obvious like incel language here?
Mhm.
How does nobody else notice this? Why is nobody else talking about it?
I think it's well, I mean, the people that are into it are obviously into it, and I think the people that aren't into it, like us, we are very vocal about it. But I think most people see it and like they can't put to words what they're understanding, but they do understand what they're seeing. Where they're like, oh, the point here is that they're obsessed with the muscle. It's muscle Jesus, right? And
Yeah.
so,
And
like,
it's like it's muscle Jesus, but it's deeper than that. And trying to explain that to somebody, you sound insane.
exactly. Again, communication is key. But yeah, it's like they frame that, and then meanwhile, the greatest current on-screen. I'm biased. The greatest current on-screen depiction of Superman is Tyler Hoechlin recreating the original comic cover, and then helping the kid with his hat, and the kid going, "That's a really cool suit," and he says, "Thanks, my mom made it," and flies away. And every time I watch the scene, I tear up a little bit. It's the most incredible scene of Superman currently, and again, we haven't seen the movie yet, so.
No.
I But like watching him do his press tour, watching David do his press tours and talk about it, and like the scenes of him. I just saw the interview with him where he's talking with somebody, and they're like the person said the burden of being Superman, and he was like, "I want to correct you. It's not a burden. It's a responsibility that he chooses to have, not that he's saddled with, not that he feels like he has to do. He wants to do it." And it's like, oh, we did it. we
Yeah.
we're,
Okay.
we did it.
I don't even need to see the fucking movie at this
We did
point.
it. Yeah, it's like we got there. We're good.
No, absolutely. Like it's just it's a mix of like a fundamental misunderstanding of the character and the text and this like weird obsession with the before, you know. And again, like and let the record show, I am sympathetic towards Henry Cavill in some ways. I don't particularly love Henry Cavill.
Mhm.
It's not, this is not me saying I think he's a bad person. I just think that he's unfortunately become the mascot for a lot of people with a lot of weird fucking opinions on shit. And he said
Yeah.
some, and he himself has said some weird shit that I'm like, you know, I'm not trying to burn Henry Cavill at the cross over anything, or burn him at the stake rather, or burn him at the stake or nail him to a cross. Snyder did that, but you know, I'm not looking to do that necessarily. But what I do want to say is that, like, Henry Cavill has put on these airs of like, oh, like I'm just this, I'm just this quiet, all to myself, little nerdy guy, and I'm here playing my Warhammer, and I built my PC, and I don't want to be left alone with women because I don't want them to accuse me of anything. And
Mhm.
it's like all of that put together, I'm like, you like you're probably not a bad person. You're probably not a bad person. You said a weird thing like 10 years ago, and you don't deserve to be nailed to a cross for it. I really do believe that. But like everything about his vibe lends himself to being co-opted by a bunch of fucking weirdos.
Yeah. Everything he
And
posts about, everything he does, and again, I do think if he had been given a real chance as Superman, he would have done well.
100%.
I will say that because he
Again,
looks
fuck
the
Joss
part.
Whedon. Justice League is proof positive.
Yeah.
Justice League is proof positive. Like I said, like again, Joss Whedon, horrible, 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 horrible human being. You know, me when I say that I think I prefer his version of Justice League, that is not me, you know, turning a blind eye to his many, many crimes. He's an absolute fucking disappointment. I never want that to. Never, ever, 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 ever want me praising that movie to come across as though it is me not admonishing him. That said, I think that like that is like I said, that is proof positive that Henry Cavill can do more than just like this Superman who's mourning his very being.
Mm-hmm.
And he only has like 5 minutes to do it, and I'm like, that's fucking Superman. Where the fuck has this been this whole time?
It is like with Henry. It is kind of because I remember him. I remember when that was fresh. I remember the sexual assaulting being fresh, and you and I even had a talk about it where we were like, "That's a little shady." That's like can understand the sentiment. That's a weird thing to actually vocalize.
Yeah, and hey, straight white dude at the beginning of Me Too, you misunderstood the assignment. Okay, a lot of fucking people did.
Yeah.
They're like, again, going back again, Keanu's another one who gets glommed onto in a weird way. Because everybody's like, oh, look at him. He never touches people when he takes photos, and we all know why. And it's like, I think Keanu's just like respecting people's personal space in the moment, and he's like, oh yeah, like people won't notice my hands hovering if they just look at the picture real quick. Like, and again, like I don't want to lose the plot here. I really don't, but it's like, the what I think sets our show apart from a lot of others is that while we engage with the media and we talk about the news and we talk about our excitement for things and dissect things and theorize and do all of that stuff, we also critically engage with the culture around it. And it is something that I think sets us apart from a lot of other, shows that do what we do. It's something that I frankly think the conversation is incomplete without doing it. And unfortunately, a lot of the time that means that we go on mildly repetitive rants about this shit. But like it bears repeating. It does bear repeating. And it's really important to me to go like, I'm really excited for this. However, there's going to be a lot of shit attached to it that has no business being as prevalent as it is. Like when we inevitably have our Superman discussion in a few weeks, I bet good money. I was going to say, I bet good money that by that point we're going to be talking just about the movie because we got this shit out of our system.
God, I hope. I want to have the reaction to this movie that I had to the Batman. I still think the Batman is the greatest on-screen representation that we've ever gotten.
It's not even close.
And when I tell people that, they look at me sideways. They're like, but the Christian Bale movies. And I'm like, do you understand the symbolism in literally half of a shot in this movie that I don't get in like non-comic book film? Like Bruce leading the city by torchlight through the darkness with the first person to take his hand being an orphaned boy. Like, they could have just shown me that image. And I would have been like, oh, that's the greatest shot of Batman ever made. And no, we get a whole movie of that. Where we get to watch him become that. And now my hope is that maybe we get that with Superman.
I think we're going to. And one other thing related with regards to like the press junkets that have been happening with James Gunn and the cast. Somebody who was interviewing Gunn made a comment where he was like, "Oh yeah, it's like I can't wait to see how the Superman reacts to some guy dressed like a bat protecting people." And James Gunn, I don't know if you saw this, and James Gunn giggled and went, "Who's to say he hasn't already seen somebody dressed like a bat?" And I started jumping up and down. But either way, Batman 2 script is in. Superman reactions are good. One last quickie.
If they make a world's finest movie, we're going to go nuts.
Oh, dude, we are going to be the most annoying people on the planet. You and I are going to be the most annoying people on to ever walk the fucking earth. But our last story, kind of a quickie, real quick. Final trailer for Fantastic Four: First Steps. A lot of what we've already seen. I've avoided 99% of the marketing for this, just because I want to go in as cold as possible. I did see this trailer. It's just the 1-2 punch of Superman and Fantastic Four is something that I'm just so excited for. And this final trailer, I think, is going to be the kind of rallying call around the movie. And I am really hyped for it. Travis, how'd you feel about this final trailer?
Didn't watch it.
You didn't watch it?
Nope. I like you. I mean, we've talked about this before. Usually around second full trailer, we dip out of marketing.
Yeah.
Specifically trailers and like TV spots and stuff. Like I'll still watch. I've been eating up the press junkets for Superman. Like,
Yeah.
and again, this is partially like showcasing my personal feed and also the fact that like I think Marvel is. I've seen some Pedro Pascal talk about it. Primarily, I think they're banking on the fact that it's the Fantastic Four, and everyone's been wanting this for 20 years.
Mhm.
So the need to do insane press junketeering is as wishy-washy as Marvel has been in the public opinion recently. I think they know they have a winner, and I'm willing to trust them on that. I've been willing to trust them on that since day one. We know this,
Absolutely. I
but
mean, you know, I mean, I really like this final trailer. I like what it's presenting. You know, it's peeling back some layers. You know, on like on some level, I kind of wished I hadn't seen it.
mhm,
Just because like it's starting to pull like it's showing us more of that idyllic veneer of this world that they're from. Going, oh, we're all gonna fucking die.
mhm.
There's a little bit more of that. But I really do love the stuff that they're doing with the thing. I really love what they're doing with Ben in this trailer. He has an inexplicable rock beard, which I love.
Hell yeah.
And they also start playing with the idea that it's clobbering time is not a thing he actually says. Like there's a like the whole trailer is like there's beats throughout the trailer, people going, say it, say it, say it, and him being like, that's only in the cartoon. I don't actually say that. Like he says that to kids, and then
That's
like
funny.
Johnny Storm keeps being like, come on, say it, say it, say it. Like there's a scene where like where like Johnny's like, I don't think Johnny's carrying the thing, but like they're falling, like Johnny's holding on to the thing while they're falling out of the Fantastic car.
Mhm.
And he's like, say it while they're falling. And Ben's just like, I'm not saying it. I'm not saying it. And it's like, okay. So that's either going to be the big final moment of this movie or Doomsday, where we're going to get a really big, it's clobber in time, and we're all going to fucking clap. This movie looks so goddamn good. And even though I'm angry with him right now, I hope CM Punk gets to attend the premiere. Because CM Punk, I didn't realize this until a few months ago, little bit more than a few months ago, that whenever he comes out right before he wrestles, he yells it's clobbering time because CM Punk is a giant fucking nerd.
Yeah. I didn't know about the clobbering time thing. I think I knew he was a nerd exclusively because on the occasions wrestling bleeds into my feed because of you. It's usually either um who's the other guy?
My guy, Cody Rhodes.
Cody Rhodes, yes. I couldn't remember I had like 7 names go through my head, none of them were Cody Rhodes, and I'm like, I know that's not right. Um and CM Punk. Like it's
Yeah,
just a
those are
blur.
my two faves. Those are
Yeah.
my two faves, and it's always CM Punk being like a cheeky little stinker, or Cody Rhodes having amazing Star Wars opinions. Um, but no, well, Punk has Punk is super tatted, as you know, you've seen pictures of him.
Mhm.
Um, he's obviously like the big one everybody knows is like the big Pepsi logo on his arm. On the other arm, he has the Cobra symbol from GI Joe, and it's hard to see a lot of the time because it's around his knees, and his knee pads normally cover them. But on his, I believe it's one on one knee and one on the other. They're right next to each other on the same knee. But he has Han and Leia tattooed on him.
Oh.
Um, but like just because of it's like little like just this little like bust shots of Han and Leia. Um, but he also CM Punk also loves the Last Jedi. Um, I promise I don't base my favorite wrestlers on their Star Wars opinions. I promise that's not a thing. Um, but it helps.
Yeah.
But like I didn't notice for the longest time because when he comes out, the music is so loud, the crowd is going so ape shit. That like I never understood what he was saying when he came out.
Mhm.
But eventually, after Alden told me that he says it's clobbering time, I noticed that he like pretends to check a watch. and like taps on it, hits the ground, and goes, "It's clobbering time," before he goes into the ring. So just because of that, I hope CM Punk gets to attend a premiere, even though I'm angry with him right now. Even though I'm very angry with Phil. Phil done pissed me off last week. And I'm very annoyed with him still. Travis, it's so hard being a wrestling fan.
Yeah.
I'm good. I'm trying really hard to like see if I can get into AEW because WWE is making me real angry these days. This shit's hard. This is like fandom difficulty impossible is being a wrestling fan, at least for me. Like when you're the kind of former Harry Potter fan who fully quit the franchise because of J.K. Rowling, loving WWE is really difficult.
Yeah.
Because every so often, because I recognize that 90% of my favorites are decent human beings, but the company they're in and the people they're surrounded by are all fucking evil. Like not even like it's obviously it's not Vince evil, like
Mm-hmm.
that's a monster everybody knows should go right to hell. But then again, Diddy got off on half of his charges today. So what the fuck do I know about who's evil and who decides to burn? But like it's just that company's fucking terrible. I need Cody and Punk to go back to AEW. But either way, I think that's all we had for you guys. Like I said, next week we should have a Jurassic World Rebirth review out. I also want to do an Acolyte 1 year later episode of KNR here soon. So stay tuned for that. Other bits of housekeeping. Ionized Bastards is over. And I'm so sad about it. So sad about it. But if you haven't seen the final episode yet, go get caught up. Go watch the final episodes of Ionized Bastards. We have some really cool stuff coming down the pipeline over at All Remaining Systems, so stay tuned for that. Pro and Noob is going to be back here soon to talk about the first 3 episodes of Dan to Dan Season 2 here in a couple weeks. So check that out. We have our, I think we have the last episode of the Dan to Dan Season 1 coverage coming out in a few days here as well. So you can go check that out.
One Piece when?
What?
What? What? Who said One Piece? What?
Oh, One Piece when? Man, Mitch has joked about how like that's the final boss of Pro and Noob. Is how the fuck do we do that for the format of that show? How the fuck do we do it?
I think just the surprise, hey, I caught up with One Piece episode. That's the only way you can do it, honestly. Which I better be on, because, dude, the number of One Piece edits I get, I only have one friend on TikTok I can send them to, and we've started signing them because the first time, because they're sad, they're always sad, and they're emotional because One Piece is like the greatest story being told right now, and when we send each other edits, we send brick because we're throwing bricks at each other. Have you seen this other places? Like, have you signed the brick comments? Or did you at least sign the brick?
That is so what Taylor loves to do to me anymore is because I am obsessed with Epic the Musical. She loves to spike the ball by sending me Star Wars Epic edits.
Yeah.
Have you listened to Epic yet?
I've seen, I mean, a lot of the One Piece edits I get are with Epic music.
Or with Epic?
So, like, yeah.
So to summarize the Odyssey real quick, Odysseus' son, Telemachus, after Odysseus has been missing for over a decade, and Odysseus had a falling out with Athena, Athena comes to aid Telemachus in a time of need. And then they have a song, and it's very much like, hey, I knew a guy. He was a lot like you. He was brilliant. He was a hero, but, he had his issues. He had a lot of shit he had to deal with. And, I wish I could have done more to help him, but like, I have the chance to help you now. And that means a lot to me. And Travis, you know where this is going. The amount of fucking Athena and Telemachus edits I see that song that are set to either Obi-Wan and Luke or Ahsoka and Luke, and I cry every motherfucking time. Every motherfucking time. They're like it is like a one-hit KO for me every time I see them. Because it's just so poignant and perfect. And obviously, the hero's journey, the monomyth, a lot of it all circles back to the Odyssey, So like obviously all of that tracks onto each other, I'm not gonna we're about to cross 2 hours. We don't have time for me to go on a Joseph Campbell tangent. After everything we did today, I can't end it on a Joseph Campbell tangent. But you see how it all lines up. There's a lot of parallels to Anakin and Odysseus, and the Odyssey being the groundwork for the monomyth and the Hero of a Thousand Faces stuff. Luke Skywalker, even though he's going on the monomyth, he is much more like Telemachus than he is Odysseus. It's kind of a perfect parallel. Doesn't matter, but it's beautiful. Listen to Epic. Listen to Epic. You're gonna get fucking addicted fast. Shit fucks hard. And when you're done listening to Epic, listen to Scotty J. Ro's new album, Touch Light. He released a bitchin' techno album, and I like it a lot.
Oh, yeah.
And because I was able to pill him, there's a song that's related to Neon Genesis Evangelion. Because I didn't expect me to become an Evangelion evangelical, but I did. I could have just said Neon Genesis Evangelical, and that would have been way funnier. No, can't be winners.
I'm storing a lot of jokes right now that are stereotypes that I probably shouldn't say on camera. But
well, to avoid you from saying them on camera, Travis, where can the lovely people find you, my friend?
they can find me. I don't know, man. I don't post anymore. My nat's right there, but it is freeing not posting things on the internet. I will admit.
You know what? I got to get back. I got to go back to happy posting.
Yeah.
Because 90% of the time when I post, it's me being really snarky and sarcastic.
Yeah. If you find me on TikTok, I repost a lot of stuff on TikTok. That's the closest I get to like posting anything these days.
I want you to know, Travis, you and friend of the show, Trey Mitchell, both sent me the same TikTok not too long ago. And it was the type of shit my homeboy sends me on TikTok meme.
Oh yeah.
Because surprising fact, maybe I'm the friend who sends weird shit on TikTok. My memes cursed. I use dark meme magic over there.
I do take pride in being. I don't know if you got this from other people, but sending you how many tickets does it take to fuck the rat? That one, I was really happy with that one. That one made me laugh really hard. Jared, where?
Yeah, you can find me fucking the rat over Instagram and Blue Sky at Dark Jedi 2552. You can find the Nerd Academy motherfucker. You can find the Nerd Academy podcast 5 years over at Instagram, Facebook, Blue Sky, TikTok, YouTube, or wherever else you get podcasts. You can support the show by going over to our Patreon. $10 tier members on our Dean's List get shouts out at the end of the episode. So thank you to Ray Clausen and Paco and Brendan Marr of Page Turners. They were not stand-up guy. Love to work with him. Yeah, like I said, I kind of did all the programming housekeeping up top before I started doing the outro. So you guys already heard that. I'm not legally allowed to say anything, but there's a very big thing in Epic Confrontations coming up that hopefully Travis will be in again. And I'm not cutting this out, Eli. He made me cut it out last week for the last episode.
Really?
Yeah, I mentioned it to him while we were playing Fortnite, and he was like, "If you could cut that out for me, please. I don't want to start promoting Redacted until whenever." And I was like, "Okay." So then I had to sit there with a 13-hour render time to cut out 15 seconds of footage from the last episode of the Nerd Academy podcast. The things I do for that child, the things I do to be in good standing in a trivia league, I am kind of the pariah of. There's a lot of really cool shit coming up with Epic Confrontation. So you guys go check that out at Star Wars in the Galaxy. But I think that is all we have for you guys this week. Be sure to stay by the channel. Like I said, Jurassic World Rebirth, Superman, Fantastic Four, other stuff as well. So stay tuned for all of that. We'll see you all then. And class dismissed.
Stop! Move away from the cookie jar!
Hyperspace Gauntlet 2. Fuck.